Good afternoon to all participants. We still have our members entering into the room for the Zoom meeting. We request all to be patient. We'll just start with 2 to 3 minutes. Thanks for being. We still have members joining our meeting. So almost 150 plus crossed. I welcome all the members. We will wait till we have members joining, and till the time we have the pause of joining, we will allow to enter before it starts. So thanks. Welcome into the meeting.
So we have 155 members, 154 members are still joining. May I request all FSSAI office bearer to please start your video until there is a bandwidth issue. Thank you, Sudipta. Tejji, Niravji, Sudhirji, can you please start your video, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So we have 170 plus members.
I think so. We have stabilized with the member joining, and we have some little counts coming still joining. But we can start up with the meeting because it is already now 3:07. And with this, thanks to all our FSSAI members who have joined for the meeting, for the webinar. This is a very important meeting on food safety standards, which we all need to understand and the requirements and have to be a very important compliance. Sorry, I am not able to get on the video due to the bandwidth, limited bandwidth I have on traveling. But I wish everyone all the best. And with this, I would request all to be attentive and there will be a good communication. We'll have a good presentation. Thanks, Dr. Karnaji, Dr. Miss Priti ma'am, to have us with us on the experts of this FSSAI applications. Because moving ahead, we are going to move on the Swift platform. But presently, we find that we have to go to both the IceGate and this FSSAI platform. So how we can have this integration and what are the benefits and how we can speed up this whole process of FSSAI NOC. So that is what we are looking for. So thanks once again and wish you all the best. With this, I would request Vishal Mulanaji, Chairman, to take forward.
150 Thank you, Chairman Sri Shankar Shindeji, for this particular guiding us to hold this particular webinar. A big thank you to FSSAI for helping us to hold this webinar for benefit and information of all our members. Welcome all members. It's been an overwhelming response. FSSAI today is playing a very major role in our country. Today, issues pertaining to health, nutrition, safety, well-being of citizens is being monitored very meticulously by FSSAI, and they are doing this as a big social responsibility also. In order to ensure that no the duplicate or unwanted food materials are not imported into the country, and it is a very high social significance that this agency has today. What we are requesting that all members, those who are facing the issues pertaining to FSSAI, can put up their questions in the Q&A box. Our team would surely go through one by one and ensure that FSSAI authorities are giving their suitable replies to our members. The program today, which is being held, based on the feedback received from all our custom clearance locations, we will be, there are few of them which we would like to highlight, is that appointing of a nodal officer, because that will help for any issues that are being faced by our members at the time of custom clearance. Number two is ensuring that specific time limits are specified for giving NOC and carrying out testing also. Because in the recent past, testing of food materials through certain labs had taken substantial time and which had delayed the clearances considerably. The next is updating of out of scope item list in the website of the FSSAI. So that is, if it is updated, it will be very helpful for information of trade and as well as customs also. The next on the list, based on the feedback, was out of scope items. Whenever they are released by FSSAI, they mention that as word rejection. This gives a wrong connotation to the entire issue. We are requesting that this should be termed as out of scope specifically, that this is not a food related item, because when you mention it as rejected and when we see the status, custom authorities see the status, it gives a different meaning altogether. That's our request and submission. And finally, an online redressal mechanism in case of any issues being faced, which answers can be provided by the FSSAI authorities. Sir, ma'am, your presence here is highly appreciated. The entire trade, EXIM trade is looking forward for your guidance, clarifications, and your handholding here. And we are sure that with your leadership role of FSSAI as a responsible participating government agency in under single window project of CBIC, this interaction will go a long way. I would request our Honorary Secretary, Mr. Vinod Sharma ji, to kindly give introduction of our next speaker from FSSAI, that is Dr. Karuna Dale Madam. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dushyant Mulani, Chairman-elect FSSAI. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Karuna Dale is presently designated as Assistant Director Technical at Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, West Region Office. She is currently working as an authorized officer for import clearance at Air Cargo Mumbai and Mumbai Seaport. She handled JNPT as an authorized officer from September 2022 to 30th June 2023. Dr. Karuna completed her PhD in nanotechnology from the IIT Bombay and has completed her master's in organic chemistry. Dr. Karuna has an expertise in handling sophisticated instruments such as nanoindentator, FTIR, and UV visible spectroscopy. Dr. Karuna, we would like to inform you that there are 220 plus members and now the stage is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So first of all, I would like to thank the chairman, sir, Mr. Shankar Shinde, sir, Dushyant, sir, and Vinod, sir, and all the members of FSSAI. So this is my first session with FSSAI. So firstly, I welcome you all and thank you all for giving us this platform to reach out to the consumers, and also I see a lot of participants, I think which are from the food fraternity, from the CHAs, and also new participants who have joined. And thank you for providing us this platform. And with this, I would like to start my session. I would like to also take this opportunity to just say a few things. First of all, Preeti ma'am has got an urgent meeting, the Regional Director, Western Region. So she will be joining at the end of the session. By the time I complete, she may join. And apologies for that. So let's see whatever Dushyant sir and Shankar sir you are expecting, and we'll also try to deliver the questions whatever has been addressed. So I'll take the best opportunity so that the trade facilitation process becomes easier for the CHA, the consumer, and also to the importers. So we are here today. So few of my members from FSSAI have joined FSSAI, the technical officers. So you are also free to ask them questions at the end of the session. So because it's a post-lunch session, so I'll make sure that you're not falling asleep. So you'll not get bored, and we'll take maximum care that we cover all the major points in this, so that whatever Dushyant sir has already spoke regarding the Norton scope and also we'll have more clarity on that. So I'll start with the session. So the topics covered today will be from introduction of FSSAI to how many custom stations we cover, what is the process, how the NOC process is carried out, what is the process for online application for the CHA and the importers. So what is the procedure involved for food import clearance? How do we give appointment, sampling, laboratory testing process? What is the timeline? So dual NOC process, like we have a not in scope process. We do not have a rejection. We only give for articles which are unsafe or misbranded or substandard. So there are some exemption cases from FSSAI which I'll discuss later. So retest and review procedure, if the food article fails, what is the retest and review procedure? So this will have more clarity on, and what are the steps taken in overall by FSSAI to facilitate the trade. And then you are free to ask the questions. So let's see what I'll just give a brief introduction. So as you all aware, because I see many new people joining, so I'll just start from the basics so that everybody who is participating, 235 people, so they will be more clear. So FSSAI is a governing authority. So it has been established under the Food Safety Act. So whatever decisions or whatever we do, it is covered under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. So two mandates. First is FSSAI laid down standards based, science-based standards, not only standard, but science-based standards for articles of food. We regulate manufacture, process, distribution, sale, and import of food. The basic idea behind this is to ensure safe and wholesome food for human consumption. So idea is that whoever the consumer is, we provide them safe and wholesome food for human consumption. So this is the mandate, as I said, ensuring safe and wholesome food for human consumption. So we are participating government agencies with customs. So we have over 140 food import entry points. It's an integrated, fully online system with customs. So it's a transparent system. So we have our own portal for import clearance, that is food import clearance system. And for licensing, we have FSSAI. We govern the food import in India. Whatever import you are bringing through any mode of transport like air, sea, we are governing the food import in area so that wholesome and without unsafe products are being sent to the medium. So like I said, you can bring the import through any mode like land, sea or air. It will be, you have to go through FSSAI clearance or FSSAI clearance. So what is the role of FSSAI in exempt trade? So these are the few ministries, departments and other regulatory trade partners with customs. So what is FSSAI? The mark with yellow, food safety, we are the participating government agency. So which helps in food clearance. So food clearance, FICS, our portal or system, FICS is linked with IceGate system. And I'll talk about this in the slide. How many points? So we have total 150 entry points all over. So first, presently FSSAI is present, FSSAI present at 53 entry points with offices at 10 locations like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. We have some branch offices also, and we have 97 entry points where FSSAI would not go, and the custom official will act as the authorized officer. So I'll tell you who is the authorized officer. Authorized officer are appointed by the CEO or the Chief Executive Officer of FSSAI under the section of 47(5). So if I am authorized officer, so I'll be appointed under the section 47(5) of the FSSAI, because we totally work under the FSS Act 2006, that is Food Safety and Standards Act. So you can see many branches of our main regional offices and other ports where we are working for. So I'll just go through this. So let's go to the actual process, because I think we have very less time. So I may take some more time so that all the doubts and everything are clear. So let's start with the food import clearance process, the trade part, actually what happens here. So comes under import regulation for import process. So chapter 5 of the Act, which say that what are the provisions relating to import. So you cannot import any food into India till you have a FSSAI license or FSSAI license. You cannot import any unsafe, misbranded or substandard food or food containing extraneous matter. So now what is unsafe, what is misbranded or substandard? So people have confusion here. What is unsafe means which is injurious to health, which cannot be imported to India, which may cause in case cause death. So you have a penalty for that, which is mentioned in the regulation and we act accordingly. Next is substandard. What is the food which does not meet the standards laid down by the regulations? It may not be unsafe, but it is substandard. So misbranded, like some people, Bisleri, let's take example of Bisleri. So people will spell the, mislead the consumer that they will write the spelling, something like they'll do misleading with the advertisement. So such articles you cannot import. So next is license. As I said, license is a major requirement. Without FSSAI central license for import, you cannot import any food product into India. That is a major criteria. In some cases, this is not applicable, which I'll discuss, as Dushan sir said, for not in scope and articles. So we'll make the process very clear at the end when we talk about not in scope articles. So all the import related activities are based on the import regulation, which has been come into picture from 2017, and it has been amended from that period. And whatever new things or new advisories they are giving related to import, so you can check our website where the advisories are all located. It is advisories and orders, and also the regulations from where we how the tests are done on the what food category the product will go. So you can also go to the food product standard. So next is clearance of food by the food authority. So we have an FICS portal or system. When the CHA applies for the bill of entry, So ICA number will be generated. So bill of entry number is from the customs. So our is ICA number, consignment ID, which is called consignment ID. So you will get a consignment ID as soon as you file an application. So the application will go to our TO, who is a representative of authorized officer. So TO will scrutinize the applications. The application will go to final approval to AO. The AO will just forward, accept the application if all the things, all the documents are okay. The sampling appointment will be given. The visual inspection will be done, and the sample will be proceeded to the lab and for further clearance. We'll see this more clearly in the other slide. So what is SWIFT and how do we operate? How is FICS connected to? So single window system is a trade facilitation measure carried over by the CBIC and Government of India. So they have taken up implementation of this single window project to facilitate the trade across borders in India. So the major import regulatory agencies in India which are involved in issuing clearances, or you say no objection certificates for live consignments. So that is post import which are brought in under the, so from single entry point, you can file all your documents, and the 6 participating agencies which are majorly involved are, so major, we are the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, Animal Quarantine and Plant Quarantine, so Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, and Textile Community. So you can file all of your documents at a single point SWIFT. As soon as you file your bill of entry at SWIFT or any declaration which has been specified with the customs, so that bill of entry, if it is a food product, that will be marked to FSSAI or FICS. So as soon as we see a bill of entry, which is a food product, we will accept the bill of entry. As soon as we accept the bill of entry, it will go to the CHA. The CHA will file the application, and the consignment ID, as I said, ICA number will be generated. That ICA number is a tracking number for us to search if we can just raise the application. So single window is basically a transparent measure taken by Government of India and CBICs to accelerate the process and for transparency. Everything is transparent in this system. So I'll just tell few words about risk-based food import clearance. So Food Authority, what it does for the, it may review the risk associated with articles of food import from time to time. So what they do, they adopt a risk-based framework and inspection process. So they look at the CHA, the manufacturer, what is the imported product, what is the source country of the consignment, what is the country of origin, from which port is that has entered, as depending upon the history of the importer, manufacturer, and other factors and parameters mentioned here. So the risk-based framework, what it will do, it will assess the system, and your commodity or your product will be released through green channel without marking to any of the PGAs. So like I have mentioned the third point, you can see the Food Authority may release from time to time alert notifications, including time-bound provision on articles of food, or they can recall the same. So based on the risk associated with the articles of food. So I'll just, one slide, I'll just show you this. How do we categorize this? So we have a list of high-risk products and low products. So high-risk products, I'll just, so as I said, pro RMS, it will get cleared to green channel based on the compliance history of the importer. So how, if like say 10 consignments have been passed correctly, so the RMS will scan the profile of the importer and it will release through green channel. So what are high risk food? Basically meat products, fish products, egg and egg products, milk powders, condensed milk, infant milk products, and fats in some cases, and cocoa butter. So how do you categorize? So one slide will explain you everything for high risk foods. So if 100% will sampling will be done for first 5 consignments, for 25% sampling, so it will be reducing. So your charges of visual inspection, your sampling will definitely get reduced. So in the second, if your next 20 consignments are okay, so 25% of sampling will be done, and subsequently 5% of the sampling will be done. So what is actually the process of NOC? So I'll just go in brief with this. So as I said, authorized officers are assigned to each and every port under the section 47(5) of the Food Safety Act, and they all follow the import regulations and provisions of the under the provisions of the Act, rules and regulations. So what is the NOC process? We'll divide it into four. We have divided into four major steps. First is when you apply through ISG, that is Indian Customs Electronic Data Interchange way. So it will be directed by SWIFT through us, through FICS. If it is a food article only, it will be transferred to FICS for further clearance. So what will we do? You can submit the documents, as I said, when the CHA, after we accept the bill of entry, the CHA can file the application in FICS, that is Food Import Clearance System, in which they can upload all the required documents, whatever has been applicable to the specified product. So we'll do document scrutiny, we'll do visual inspection, we'll send the sample for laboratory analysis, and further NOC, NCC based on the same will be generated. So if the results are found confirming, the consignment will be cleared, but if the results are non-confirming, it will be rejected. So it is depend on the laboratory test as well as visual inspection. At some point, we can also reject it at scrutiny stage or documentation stage. So, but the rejection rate is somehow very much reduced. I'll just tell what measures we have taken to reduce this rejection rate. So, not in scope, like sir said, if it is not under FSSAI purview, we give a not in scope, and we do not give a rejection remark, we give a not in scope. So, as I said, authorized officers are present at each port. The technical officers who are there, they will scrutinize the application thoroughly. If any query or if some document is missing, they will raise a query. The query will be replied, and when the importer or CHA replies to the query, the application will be further moved to the authorized officer. After the authorized officer gives the acceptance, it will be further forwarded to visual inspection officers who go for checking labels, label compliance, and also the nutritional facts, the RDA percentage, everything, and whatever mandates have been there for labeling, that has to be complied. Then we send the sample to the lab for food analyst, and then based on the lab report, NOC, NCC, we say NCC, that is non-conformance report, and not in scope is released. So what is NOC? Like you all know. So this NOC or NCC will be directly connected to the ICE gate. So it's a very transparent process. We don't give a manual NOC or manual rejection report. This is immediately as soon as the lab releases the report, it is directly connected to the ICE gate, and the importer or the CHA can directly see the NOC. So what is the procedure for food import clearance? So post single window exchange, registration and application by CHA or the importer, both of them can file the applications. So scrutiny by AO and acceptance. So payment of visual inspection fees, what is the visual inspection fee is 2,000 plus the lab fee, whatever is there as with 18% GST. So we assign an officer for inspection. So CHA has to be present at the time of inspection. Inspection and sampling. So whatever conditions has to be complied, like labeling conditions. If the labeling conditions are compliant, then only the sample will be withdrawn. Or if there is some mismatch in the importer address or manufacturer address, or some kind of queries have been raised, so that queries will be directly forwarded to the authorized officer, and after the clearance of the query, we'll just withdraw the sample. The samples will be dispatched to the lab. So report of test results by lab, if confirming, it will be cleared by the custom. If non-confirming, you have two options. So even if you are getting a non-confirming report with the primary lab, there are two provisions given by FSSAI, like a retest and review, or re-export or destroy will come in the other case. The two major procedures are retest and review. If it is confirming on review or retest, yes. If it is not confirming, then you can think of re-export or destroy. So firstly, as I said, central license for import is very much necessary. So this is our FOSCOS portal, which will help you for license. There are many new participants I can see. So you can just look at the slides where you can apply for license. And also you can also standardize products, which have you just enter the product name. Let's say cinnamon, you can just type in the standardized products, you will get the standard number. So this way we can also search the license, because we have seen that license on the FICs which have been given and which comes on the label sometimes are mismatching. So we also verify the license, and anybody can verify the license on the FOSCOS portal. So how do the CHA file the application? So many of the CHAs must be aware, but still I'll just whoever are new and wants to understand the process. So either there are two options: either the customer housing agent or the custom house agent can log in the CHA, or the importer can log in. So both can create an ID and they can file the application. So whoever, like if the CHA is filing the application, then it will be continued by the CHA. If the importer is filing the application, it will be the. So CHA has to sign up first, go to FICS, sign up whatever requisite CHA license, copy, photo ID proof, whatever is needed, you have to submit that. For importer update, for importer, it is IEC code. So you just have to fill 3 first characters of importer name. If you are registered, your details will directly be entered. For user ID and password, you will automatically receive in your email ID. So these are the steps which CHA has to follow. So as you can see, just a screenshot to just make you more aware of the how the system for the CHA works. So you can enter all the details here. If importer is there, if the importer is registered already, you just have to fill 3 letters of your importer name. All the details of this will be automatically filled up. So let's move on to principles and procedure of food import clearance. So for sampling, so consignment, as I said, is subjected to document scrutiny, then physical condition of the consignment, label assessment, and visual inspection. So what we assure through laboratory analysis, that safety, as we said, we ensure safe and wholesome food to consumers. So we, while doing the laboratory analysis, purpose of laboratory analysis is safety and quality assessment. So special dispensation, like we have for now, rectifiable labeling dispenses, deficiencies, and PNOC, that is provisional NOC, which we give like a provision for clearance of foods which are in cold storage or refrigerated containers. So I'll talk about review and retest mechanism. So all these things are benchmarked under Food Safety and Standards Act, the rules and regulations made thereunder. So let's start with what is the key importance or key elements which govern this NOC process. First is document scrutiny. Second is visual inspection, labeling compliances, then sampling, how do we do food testing, then NOC or NCC generation. So how do we do scrutiny? What are the mandatory requirements? What are the mandatory documents? So firstly, import-export code from DGFT, which all the importers they have from Director General of Foreign Trade. So import license, as I said, is mandatory from FSSAI, Central Import License. Country of origin certificate from where you are importing the product or the food product. Country of origin is like you have to submit it from country of goods manufactured country. Sometimes if it is manufactured at place A and exported by place B, so you need from place A the country of origin. So this is just, I'm giving an example, like if you are importing a product from USA to Dubai and then Dubai to India, so some people give Dubai country of origin, which will not be accepted as per the regulation. So country of origin has to be from USA in this case. So please mark this point. It's very important because there what delay gets in scrutinization of documents, where the CHA or the importer has to understand that the country of origin is mandatory and it has to be from the country of goods origin. Next is the bill of entry, which already the CHA files. The ingredient list has to be mandatory because the ingredient list has to be shared with the lab also. So they need to know the ingredient list. End use declaration you can share, like in Norton Scoop it is mandatory. End use declaration, what is the end use? Like in case of additives, we ask for end use declaration, or flavors, we ask for end use declaration. So consignment specific mandatory requirements like bill of lading or airway bill, invoice, packing list for proprietary food which are not standard. So ISO 17025 certified certificate, like certificate of analysis. And this certificate has to be not older than 3 months before dispatch. This is very, very important because we get certificate of analysis like 1 year before the consignment is there. So this is not applicable. So please mark it. So for plant products, phytosanitary certificate is needed. For this we'll discuss in brief. animal products, health certificate, and definitely import permit. Non-GMO certificate, this is for soya beans, and the list has already been put up on the FSSAI website. So you can go through the list for the non-GMO certificate. So what are the forms which we ask the importer or the CHA to fill? First is the visual inspection form. This is form 1 to 6 is for our reference. The report of lab analysis comes in form 2. Third is NOC, which is generated in the form of form 3. NCC or the rejection report comes in the form 4. So review when you file, it will come in the form 6. Mandatory destruction order will always come from the food authority, that is from form 5. This is not done by the authorized officers. It will directly come from the food authority. Like if you have a consignment which even if after the review it is failed, so you need destruction. So form 5 you have to get from the CEO or the food authority. So special exemptions we give, like sir was telling, Dushan sir. So special exemption from form 7 to 11. So if you can take the screenshot of this slide, that will be very good to the new CHA or whoever are willing to apply for import or import clearance process. So personal consumption, for personal consumption, you need form 7. So there is a bona fide limit for this personal consumption, like defined by the customs. So you cannot bring more amount than this prescribed limit by the customs, and it changes from time to time. So you look at the customs manual where you will get this bona fide amount. So you cannot bring 540 kgs and say this is for personal consumption. So definitely we will not exempt the process. So it will go under sampling and all the process. Like you're bringing 0.5 kg or 2 kg or whatever the amount prescribed by the customs. So you have to just be sure with the amount. So form 8 is for 100% export and re-export. So you're like, it will also come under advanced manufacturing license if you have. So if you are re-exporting the consignment, then surely form 8 can be filled. If you are bringing it for R&D purpose, like research and development purpose, so you should have you can file a licensed food importer, or even if license is not there, you can file the application, because if R&D purpose is there, the amount would be low. So you have to fill form 9 for R&D purpose. For display purpose in trade fair and exhibition, form 10 will be needed, but the exhibitor shall comply with all the mandates given in the food import regulation. So the exhibitor has to submit form 10 first of all, and the importer shall also submit a copy of registration or license or food safety certificate issued by the authorized agencies of the country of origin. So in case of the articles of food which are proposed to be used for tasting purposes, not TAST testing, TAST, like in some display purpose, like KFC, you bring the food articles for tasting purposes. So that has to be mentioned on the label or a sticker stating for exhibition purposes only, for tasting purpose only. So all these things are mentioned in our import regulations. So whenever you attach a sticker, that should be a non-detachable sticker. So please keep in mind that it has to be a non-detachable sticker. So form 11 is for the sports event. So whatever sports event, if for that you're bringing the import, so definitely you have to fill the form 11. Form 12 is for the special storage conditions, like if you want PNOC for frozen products, like frozen blueberries or any frozen items. Form 13 is for the perishable foods, like fruits and vegetables. So as these forms are like an affidavit you have to make in on the importer letterhead and submit. The format is already there. You don't have to type anything. Already the formats are given, and you just have, in case of pre-packaged articles, form 13, 13A and form 12. So these forms you have to give on importer letterhead along with the storage condition. In FICS, there are provisions we have made where you can select the storage conditions. Even AO clients now, authorized economic operators, are getting immediately PNOC they are getting. So even if you are an authorized economic operator, the importer has to be the authorized economic operator, not the CHA. So please keep this in mind, like AU should be importer. Importer has to give the AU on his name. So like if you have very bulk samples, like in JNPT, when I was there used to come huge consignments where this bulk products used to come when they have representative sample, like they have 500 packets for representative sample. So they can give form 40 where they can declare that this bulk packages cannot be opened as they are hygroscopic in nature. And they can submit the form 14. So form 15, if you do not have a representative sample, then we have to open the packet on, we'll have to take the representative samples. So registration of foreign food manufacturing facilities for high risk products. So I'll just show you this also. And all these forms. So in what cases PNOC will be given? So this is all documentation process. Like you have a control temperature, as I said, form 12. So shelf life less than 7 days, form 13. And if it is a pre-packaged article for crude oil, also the advisory has come. It will be taken under form 13E. So AU certificate, as I said. So you have to give health certificate from country of origin and livestock permit in case of meat and meat products. Non-GMO certificate from country of origin. So for organic products, bilateral or multilateral agreement between two countries. So it has a treaty. So right now, I think Poland has a treaty. So you can also figure out for if you are bringing an organic product as an import. So next is vegan food. Vegan advisory has or regulation has just come out. So also check with the vegan procedure. So next is the claim approval. So this is you can directly do from the ePass website, which is already there. So this is commodity wise documentation. So as we have seen 6 mandatory documents, the bill of entry, country of origin, phyto, everything. So other than that, if it is an agricultural commodity, you will need a plant quarantine certificate, that is phytosanitary certificate from the Department of Agricultural from the country of origin or goods exporting country. So if you have almonds, if you are bringing in almonds, you will be submitting the phytosanitary certificate. But if you are importing roasted almonds, you do not have to give phytosanitary certificate. It is only for plant-based products or raw products, raw agricultural commodities, not for roasted almonds, not for even for roasted cashews, or even any item which is roasted or food product which is roasted, the phytosanitary certificate will not be applicable. So this is an important point which you should keep noted. So next is GM-free certificate. The list is already put up on the website. So like beans, kidney beans, and then soya beans. So this kind of beans and other products which are there, which are already listed. So you can go through the GM-free certificate, which is a necessary document or mandatory document for agricultural commodity. So recently what we have seen is from one of the countries, the lab was issuing the GM-free certificate, where we have pointed out that, and we have brought this matter up to the CEO and the secretariat also of the corresponding country. So we have this from, I don't know which country, Sudan or something. So this GM-free certificate should not be given by any lab, on even if it is an authorized lab. So authorization certificate, if they have received from the country of origin that they are certified to give that GM-free certificate, then they can provide the GM-free. But please keep these points like noted, that because GM-free certificate is an important document where we ensure that the food importing, which you are importing, is GM-free, that is genetically modified. So for poppy seeds, you need Central Bureau of Narcotics certificate, which is they give the NOC, and for fresh fruits, we give PNOC. For animal products, as firstly veterinary certificate, livestock permit, and you can apply for PNOC if these are frozen fish products or meat products. And one major important thing is the reform registration. That is, the importer should be registered, or the manufacturer who is there should be registered with FSSAI, registration of foreign manufacturing facility. So already this procedure has many of the importers and the manufacturers have already registered in this. So your name will directly appear on the website if the manufacturer is registered. So for high risk products, this has been pointed out that you should have a reform registration. So all the procedure related to this have been already given. So far we have 194 registration. So if you registered, if this is from Switzerland, so many of the companies have registered for me, whatever it is applicable for milk and milk products, then nutraceuticals, infant products. So for proprietary fruits, certificate of analysis is ISO 17025. So ISO 17025 certificate is needed from the exporting country, not 3 months older than the date of dispatch. So for non-specified food and IEM products, now you need NOC from headquarters directly or a product approval, without which you cannot import such products which are not specified in the standards or which are totally not specified. So this is just a commodity wise checklist. So if you want, you can take the screenshot. So what do visual inspection? So authorized officer or a person deputed by authorized officer will go and verify the physical condition of the consignment. So packaging and labeling compliance will ensure, and balance shelf life should be 3 months or greater than 60 degree. If you are not satisfying, if the product or consignment is not satisfying the visual inspection criteria, the consignment can be then and there rejected. So I've just shown a screenshot where we have just to show you how the label looks like and how we are ensuring compliance. So product name, importer name, packing, expiry, everything is there on this. FSSAI name, FSSAI logo, FSSAI license number, wedge logo. So whatever is there has to be complied with the label. So labeling compliance, how do we do? So mostly it has to be India specific requirement, whatever is mentioned in our regulations. So never have to be compromised on labeling norms. So provision has been given now that you can rectify the labels after import and before clearance. So no sample will be drawn if rectification is not done. So you can do the rectification at the custom bonded warehouse. So and attach a single non. So whatever corrections you have done, whatever missing things are there on the label can be rectified, but it has to be a single non-detachable stickers. You cannot put 2 stickers. So most of the times when we issue a rectification order, we see that importer or CHA has put 2 labels. No, it cannot be done. You need to put all the rectifications which have been given in the rectification order on a single non-detachable sticker and next to the principal display panel. So previously these many things were allowed to be rectified. So these are the common rectifiable discrepancies. So if it is non-rectifiable, like RDA limit cannot be rectified, or if it is more, so definitely we'll offer for rejection or we'll recommend for rejection. If it can be rectified, like the importer address is mismatching, manufacturer name is mismatching, or date of manufacturing is missing. So definitely we'll advise for rectifiable discrepancy, and the consignment can be forwarded further for visual inspection and otherwise sampling. So if it is satisfactory, we give a green signal, we forward it to the laboratory without. So rectifiable, as you can see, shown an example so that you understand, you will get more clarity. In the left hand side, you can see the same packet where this is a proprietary food, where proprietary food category is not mentioned. It is mandatory to write proprietary and the nearest category of the food. So in the right hand side, you can see the rectified label. So each and every rectification has to be done 100%. So you cannot say I'm doing one product and 2 products. So no, 100% rectification has to be done. Then only the sample will be withdrawn. We will verify 100% labeling. The officer will come, verify 100% labeling. Then only the sample will be taken. So how do we sample? We did take 2 samples. The representative will come, the authorized officer's representative or the officer who has been deputed. If visual inspection is satisfactory, we will draw the sample. We draw 2 samples, like one will put it for sampling and other will be kept as a counter sample in case of retest and review. So for aseptic samples, 2 sealed packs of same batch will take. So this sample, whenever we collect, we take the signature of the CHA or the importer, whoever is present at that location. So how do we send the sample to the lab and which lab? So FSSAI notified NABL accredited labs. We have 14 labs here. We have primary lab. So first, when we collect the sample, it will be sent to the primary lab. So firstly, it is sent to the primary lab. If your sample fails at primary lab, the sample then will be sent for retesting to the referral labs. Okay, so we have 19 referral labs all over. So I'll show you how final NOC is generated. On the left hand side, you can see what final NOC looks like. So sorry, the details have been masked for masked. So the right hand side, you can see the rejection report. So whatever things are mentioned in this, so this is an online generated NOC. So no signature of anyone is needed. So the signature time which was taken for the convenience has been removed. So you can see on the left hand side the NOC and the right hand side the rejection report. So rejection report specifically mentions rejection report. So now we'll move for not in scope. Under what cases we give not in scope. So if the article is not under the sometimes cleaning sprays or something which has some food component, or the HS code is traced by the RMS or the single window, it will be definitely marked to FSSAI. Like phosphoric acid usually comes for dual use. So if it is a dual use article, like it is in food industry as well as in non-food industry, like phosphoric acid I said, definitely it will come. Advanced authorization license cases for export. This is a very important slide. Most of the people fail to submit a document because of the lack of knowledge, or because they do not know what to submit and how exemption can be taken. So if you have a re-export, 100% re-export, like 100% EOU, you have to submit green card. I will just talk to this in brief. In case of re-import rejected items and re-export, you have to submit country of origin of India. Definitely you must be having, and the rejection letter from the exporting country. The importer cannot give the rejection letter. Many times we have seen that importer themselves give the rejection letter. No, the rejection has to come from the exporting authority, which on whatever basis they have rejected, whatever compliances you have missed. So that rejection letter has to clarify. So in these cases, as I earlier have discussed, in these cases for specific purpose like personal consumption, R&D exhibitions, sports events, these cases exemptions are given. So how not in scope look like? So you can just see on the left hand side and the right hand side. So this is a not in scope. So it is clearly mentioned as not in scope, and we also write all the things in the remark that as per definition of 3.1J of the FSS Act, it is not under the purview of FSSAI. So that is why it has been given a not in scope item. So right hand side you can see it is for R&D purpose, which in the bill of entry you can see I have just put a screenshot of the bill of entry, where right hand side bottom you can see it is written research purpose only. So this has to be, because our reference point is only bill of entry from where we can just correlate our documents. So if it is written for research purpose only, then it is a liability of the importer. Sorry. So not in scope is generated in this case. So whatever your purpose is for exemption, if you are mentioning it in the product description of bill of entry, I think that is a good option for not in scope. It also makes our job easy. So what if if it is not food article, you can give the NDU, which is in the FSSAI format, and other documents if required. What if it is a dual use article like phosphoric acid or any article which is used in food as well as not food? So you can mention this, submit the COA, that is certificate of analysis. You can provide the technical data sheet where it will state the application relevant uses. So if importer is a manufacturing entity, he can submit or she can submit a manufacturing license, or so that exemption from FSSAI can be taken. So what other corresponding documents which can be given is, if importer is a trader, like purchase order or tax invoice can be given, and declaration from the buying company that this is not going to be used in the food industry, or manufacturing license, or flow process, how the article will be used, like some oils, essential oils which come under food also and non-food also. For them, I think they are trading like cloud stem, which has come, which is used mostly in agarbattis and all. So cloud stem standard has already come, which says that it will come under food and testing can be done, and the parameters have already been defined. So in such case, dual use and provide such documents which can clearly justify for what purpose you're importing the article. Basically, our job is to see for what purpose it is being imported for. If you're a trader, purchase order, tax invoice, declaration from the buying company that this will not be used as food article. Or if you can put a manufacturer declaration can be done. So advanced authorization license for re-export. So this is not given in any of the, so we have just clubbed the things for you. And this is a bigger platform where 280 to about 300 participants are there who will know what exactly documents are needed for advanced authorization license when you submit a bill of entry. So we have seen CHA not submitting the documents. So in the bill of entry, either you mention advanced authorization license or re-export or whatever it is, 100% EOU. So always check the validity of your authorized license. So somewhere we have seen that people miss to check this out. So green card, if you are 100%, you are like in case of SAM seeds and all. So you have a green card, so submit that green card in this case. So end use declaration has to be in FSSAI format. So you cannot submit just the importer declaration. It has to be in FSSAI format, which has been already prescribed and given on the website. And Form 8, as I said, so for 100% export and re-export, Form 8 is already given. For re-import articles go for sampling. If it is re-import and re-export, then definitely it will get a not in scope. It will not be considered for sampling. But if it is only re-import, sorry, so we'll take it for sampling, and all the FSSAI procedure has to be complied, and rejection letter from the exporting country has to be submitted. So you can see just a few example of not in scope. I think these are previously shown. So let's move on to the what is the retest and the review procedure. I think I can get few minutes. I'll just complete the retest and the review procedure. So what is retest and the review procedure? What are the different forms and their importance, and why does retest comes into picture? So let's see what is retest when we do. So when primary lab report you are getting pass or NOC, there is no need for retest definitely. So if you are getting a non-conforming certificate or NCC, then definitely you have to go for retest. But somehow people CHA miss to file the application for retest, which is an online process within 15 days from the date of generation of the NCC. So this is very, very important. The retest has to be filed within 15 days. So if you are getting an NCC today, within 15 days, you can apply online, because your online application to file will be exhausted. That process will be exhausted. So because we don't have any offline procedure for retest. So you have to be very sure that even if you are looking for review, or you are very sure that the product may be cleared in review because there are no standards or something like that, but we suggest that you apply for retest and you do the simultaneous procedure. You can also do that. So the importer has the right to do that. So what is the retest procedure? Sample if not found confirming, non-confirming, CHA can file, importer can file for the retest within 15 days of the receipt of NCC. So what is review? When to go for review? At the retest also, if your sample is found non-confirming, then you have two provisions. First is, as I have shown in the second slide also, review procedure is divided into two parts, first review and second review. So recently an advisory has been released, where firstly the review procedure was with the headquarters Delhi to the import director, but recently it has been interchanged. So the regional director from vice versa regions, like for western region we have southern region, and for northern region they have eastern region. So the application, if you file for review, the review will go to the from western region. If you are there, the review procedure will go to the southern region director. So it is not through FICS. Review process is not at all online. It is complete offline process. You have to submit Form 6 as I have shown, and your grounds for appeal has to be strong so that you file for a review. And your entire documents like bill of entry, because the review officer will not have access to your documents. So you have to give all your grounds of appeal with proper documentation like bill of entry, the NCC and all the documents, whichever like certificate of analysis if it is needed, and grounds of appeal has to be there. So what if it fails in first review? Yes, you have the second option also. You can appeal to the CEO of FSSAI. The second appeal goes to CEO. So you can also do second review. So many provisions given to the, so So review procedure, I think the left hand side is the form 6. Form 6 you can get from import regulation. You can type in Google import regulations FSSAI, you will directly get it. So primary lab report necessary or rejection report is necessary. Ground of appeal, e-payment receipt, all the payments are done to the e-payment portal. I have just added a screenshot where you can see the importer has attached all the documents, whatever it is, e-payment portal, ingredient list, label, everything. So because you are submitting the form once, so it should be a one-time process. If the review officer asks you for some other document, then you can submit the documents afterwards. So just a closer view, what happens in case of retest and review. So retest, we will always take counter sample, which is with us. As I said, we are collecting two parts of the sample. One will be sent to the lab, other will be the counter sample. So counter sample only we will take. We will not collect sample from CHA or importer again. So we will only send the counter sample, because why this is done, if anyone knows, can you tell me? Because in some cases we have found that insects and all are there, or pests are there. So we cannot take a fresh sample. The reason is that, so if the report is okay, if the retest is okay, you will get an NOC. If it is not okay, then you will get an NCR or the non-conformance. So for flowchart for review, you can see on the right hand side, it will go to the concerned regional director. Whatever procedure that if review is giving, in review also, if they advise you for retest, that same you have to follow. If you are not satisfied with the first review, you can definitely file for the second review to the FSSAI review. So just few minutes to see whatever, it's not mistakes, but somewhere there is lack of knowledge, or say lack of like people don't know what to submit, and because somewhere we are available, somewhere we are not available, because but we are trying our best that we reach up to CHAs, importers or consumers, and we are conducting sessions also. So what are the mistakes while we have observed while filing the application by the CH or importer? Sometimes incomplete documents, incomplete information in FICF, because see the number of packages will be mismatching with the bill of entry. So we surely advise you that, or suggest you that please enter the correct number of packages in the FICF, because the authorized officer is the person who can see your total application. But when we forward the application to the visual inspection officer, the person will not be able to see any of the details of the importer. So if that is mismatching, when the person comes for visual inspection, there will be a mismatch always. So that's why whatever part can be seen by the visual inspection officer, that has to be filled correctly, or rather everything has to be filled correctly. So submission of documents, as I said, like we have observed from country of origin also, like submitting from some private agency instead of Chamber of Commerce. So the country of origin has to be always from Chamber of Commerce, Ministry of Chamber and Commerce. So submission of draft copies, like not invoice is not duly signed if it is not authenticated. Submission of fabricated documents. So packing list should be with batch number, so that for retail products, because we select the samples on the batch numbers. Like if you have 4 batches of a single product, definitely we'll select 4 batches for sampling. So next is verifying product standards, labeling compliance. Where the labeling is lacking from manufacturer, export, other mandatory documents. So invalid FSSAI, if sometimes the validity of the importer license is exhausted. So importer should be aware that when use your importer license expiring. So incorrect information in the PNOC affidavit. So bill of entry, because you have a format set with you, so you sometimes missed, that happens. Bill of entry number is missing. So please pay attention so that the query is not raised and more time is not wasted. So in case of and not in scope, like proper documents, if you are submitting, if you're mentioning in the bill of entry in the product description, not for food use, so that document, bill of entry as our reference point, and some supporting document like declaration or manufacturing license, even like MSME license can work. So that license, if it is a small scale manufacturing unit, you can submit MSME license. That also we can accept. Like this usually comes in case of agarbattis, where small scale operators are there and they do not provide manufacturing license. But cloud stem is a product which can be used for adulteration also. So maximum care from our side we are taking to ensure safety of the consumers. So some suggestions, few suggestions again, like make sure that regulatory status, if you are planning to import, you can always consult with any of the authorized officers from your region, discuss with the product standards and confirm with the label artwork, because what we see labeling and display, major queries are raised in labeling and display. So and submit legible documents. Sometimes we are seeing not legible documents, so we have to verify. You have to verify document twice before sending. So file the applications as per your bill of entry, the number of packages, the country of origin. So everything has to be proper. So ingredient list has to be submitted. Rejection letter in case of re-import. So because a single entry is made for articles and which consist of multiple categories of articles of food. So like as I said, if 4 batches are there, 4 products will be selected. So batches are selected as per the weight and the number of batches. So already I have discussed not in scope. So what are the steps taken by FSSAI or in general to facilitate the trade? Definitely single window is a boon, like it's very transparent system. As soon as NOC is generated, it is linked to is ICE gate, and importer doesn't have to come anywhere to collect the NOC. So there is an efficiency in the import and export procedure also, which saves large sums of money. So next is advanced filing of bill of entry, which FSSAI has ensured that an advisory has been released. So advanced, even from the last meeting of customs with customs at JNPT, we have been accepting the checklist also for the bill of entry. So that provision also has been made for the CHAs and the importers, so that you file advanced bill of entry with the checklist, that can also be accepted. So we have allowed PNOC for pre-packaged retail articles. So like I have already shown the forms which we have to submit for PNOC. So we also look for labs in the vicinity of the port areas. So the maximum timeline for the labs we have seen is we have given 5 days. So measures we have taken for reducing the timeline is, as soon as we see that the lab is not providing report, not in case of microbiology samples, like in cases where 10 days are needed for microbiology test. The authority directly blocks the lab for a certain period of time. So the labs which are not following the time period have been blocked by like I have joined in last June. I have seen many 2-3 labs which have, because I was in JNPT, and that time I think 2 or 3 labs were blocked by the authority when not providing the reports on time. Next is RMS. So RMS, many of the things get waived off. The like FSSAI has mapped CTS codes with risk categorization for risk categorization, so that only food related products will be transferred to FSSAI for clearance, and not in scope or any non-food article related. So that wastes our time also for looking at the document. So definitely this has been mapped, and definitely it will be coming to picture. So there is an online manual, and also FSSAI has many manuals and FAQs on the internet, and also on Google. So what a lot of training sessions conducted. So just show you what the change has been done from. So left hand side, please look at the 18 November advisory. So which is a boon for the CHAs and the importers, because all the rectifications are permitted for the non-compliant labels. So you can see the rectification can be carried out at the port itself. So if you need to transfer it to the custom honored warehouse, you can do that definitely. But you can carry the rectification at the port itself, and all the things, like I have shown you some 6-7 points. No, but all the things can be rectified as per the Indian regulations or as per the FSSR, and it can be done by attaching a single non-detachable sticker. You can do at the port itself. And you can see health certificate is still, because it has to be integrated with the A. So still it is waiting. We are waiting for the order. So we are not raising any queries to milk products or fish products for health certificate in a particular format. So that provision has been done. So next is like from on 21st October this advisory, because when the sample was failed on primary lab, we used to give for analysis on all the parameters. We used to give the sample and just say analyze the sample. So, but this advisory is very saving for the importers, because now we are giving that time, the 21st October, when the advisory has come, only the failed parameters. Like say if you have an apple sample and it has been failed on methoxybenzoate, so only that parameter for analysis, not any other parameter. If the authorized officer feels that no additional parameters, primary lab has been not done, or mistakenly value has been put up, so that parameter as an additional parameter, only the authorized officer has a right to give that additional parameter to the lab. But only the parameters which are found non-conforming on beyond the limit, or that will only be tested in retest. So this will save the time, because already sending to referral labs takes time. So right hand side you can see the advisory bill of entry. So as I said, for cloud stamp there is an advisory, and in case of right hand side you can see the sample size for highly priced imported alcoholic beverages. So this also, I think the importers have put up this. So I think advisory has come in the last April. So only we collect like cognac and all this highly priced alcoholic beverages. We ensure that we are collecting only 100 ml of the sample, and lab also has to do the test in that 100 ml, but that should be 2 in numbers. So all the advisories, as I was talking about these advisories, we'll get it on the website. So it is already on the website. So with this, I just finished my talk. So if any questions are there, you can definitely questions.
Yeah, we request Mr. Tej to take question and answers. Mr. Tej, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vinodji. Ma'am, so what a lovely presentation. I think, we each and every time we go through a session with FSSAI, we learn something new. We really thank the support that you have given us in ensuring that trade remains compliant. We request all the participants, if you have any questions, raise them in the Q&A section. I'm going to take some early questions which were raised in the chat box, just for everyone's convenience. So, ma'am, there is one question which has been raised by...
Tej bhai, your voice is low.
Is it clearer now?
Now it's not clear.
Okay, thank you, sir. So there is one question that has been raised. In terms of items which are mentioned not in scope, would it be possible to refer to them as not covered under FSSAI? Because there is a confusion between, some officers feel that when it's not in scope, you still have to take a NOC. However, if it specifies not covered under the food safety regulations, then we would not be asked, thereby clearing shipments faster. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. So I understand that your question is if the article also belongs to food as well as non-food, so where it can be put up. So some of the officers, as you're saying, are moving for the NOC process. But as such, if the article is not a food article, definitely if you submit proper documents, NOC process will not be asked for you, definitely. Because if you mention in the bill of entry not for food industry, it is the liability of the importer that they are declaring in the bill of entry, which is our reference point, and the end use declaration. And I think in some cases additives or essential oils, which also fall under the category of food. For that also we insist only for that products which are of dual use. We only insist for country of origin or to establish the identity of the product. But if you're bringing in very less amount, so I don't think NOC process will be owed to you or never be asked to you. But still I'll put up this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have another question raised by Mr. Natarajan. It says, in case of raw material products which are meant for exports, is sample required to be tested when it is not for domestic use?
No, sir, as they can submit the format if it is brought under advanced manufacturing license. So definitely we'll take it for re-export sample. Re-export, we do not do sampling. 100% we do not do sampling for only the re-import cases, because re-import is considered as good as fresh import. So that in that cases we do sampling, but for re-export we do not do sampling.
Ma'am, sorry, if I was not clear, the question is not related to re-export or re-import.
Okay.
What I understand from the question, in case of an export of a product raw material, which is covered under FSSAI,
Okay.
which is for export,
Okay.
would sampling be required to be done?
Okay, I think yes, sir, but I'm not aware of this, because this is totally export matter, which has to be correlated with EIA, Export Inspection Agency, who look after this for the export purpose. I can only talk about import.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Vikas Vasudev, in terms of your question you have, which is very specific, so I would request you,
Yeah.
please. I would.
Sorry, Tej.
Yes.
Your voice, there are some messages that your voice is still not clear. Little bit, can you be a bit loud? Actually, I'm able to hear you well, but some members are saying not clear.
I think some members just want to hear my voice a lot louder. Okay, so everybody, am I audible now? If yes, can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat, please? Okay, so I have a lot of thumbs up. Thank you so much. So Mr. Vikas Vasudev, you have raised a question which is specific to a transaction. We request you to please take it offline, or meet a representative of the food safety, as we would like to avoid specific cases where we don't have information. Moving on to further questions. So we have a question raised that there are 11 shipments of whiskey re-import.
Okay.
And the Annexure 8 is also uploaded, which is the importer purchase order. The goods are going to be re-exported. 5 shipments are released and the 6th shipment is held for sampling. Since this product is not used in India, no need for testing should be required.
Okay.
Could you please assist in this question, ma'am?
Yes, I think this is a port specific, because it depends on the authorized officer what they have pointed out, because already other products have been released, but some of the products have been kept on hold, which may not be for re-export as the authorized officer's decision. So they can contact the corresponding authorized officer for the clearance purpose, because this is a specific port case, I guess so, because it cannot be generalized.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for a reply on that. We have another question from Miss Shija Nair, which has already been addressed, but I will just, for reference sake for everybody, repeat the question. When can we expect the FSSAI NOC to be processed through single window of ice gate against the import bill of entry filed, as they have experienced that where a product is not covered under FSSAI NOC, but an officer has raised a query during out of charge to approach FSSAI for the NOC, there is no visibility for whether the bill of entry requires a FSSAI NOC. Hence, there are delays in getting clearance. Ma'am, to answer your question, there is a board circular also which is issued, stating that if there are no CCR instructions or there is no mention of a requirement of a NOC, at that point in time, the officer should not request for an NOC. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that.
Yeah.
Mr. Fukan, there is you have a specific question in respect, ma'am. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but I will just run it by you.
Yes, sir. Sir, I think Preeti ma'am has joined.
Correct.
So yes, Preeti ma'am has joined. Can we just
sure, we'll just pause the question and answer. Vinodji, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Preeti ma'am, for taking a specific time from your valuable business, and thank you for joining, ma'am. And introduce Miss Preeti Chaudhary ji. Ms. Preeti Chaudhary is currently serving as a regional director, FSSAI Western Region. Ma'am joined from Mumbai Customs. Ma'am has completed Bachelor of Science from Indore University with the topper of 85%. And ma'am has completed MBA in International Business from IMT Ghaziabad. Ma'am had worked at Nhava Sheva Port and clearly closely monitored the import and export of food articles. Ma'am has received appreciation for work in direct port delivery, a time-release study from CBIC. Ma'am has also received Cascade Award from contribution in intellectual property rights from FICCI. So, ma'am, thank you very much. And can you? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for joining this webinar. And can you address in 2 minutes to our audience?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. And I'm actually sorry because today was really a busy day and I could not spare much of the time. And as I wanted actually to spare this time for all of you. And as you all know that I have been in the Mumbai customs for a long time. Nhava Sheva also I have worked. I have seen the nitty gritty of the business, how it works, how the trade moves, how importers and exporters go from one post to other post, and they have their own daily problems. At the same time, there are some genuine concerns, but at the same time, there are some widely available ignorances also. So looking at all this scenario, the important remains how we indulge with the trade and the bodies. And the training is one of the core thing that we can connect to every one of you. Of course, on the personal front, I am one of the person who believe whoever comes try to understand their things and try to resolve if you can. But on a specific or the general note, if you see that thing may not be possible for every single time. So it's important when we are discharging some regulatory function or we are facilitating you, it would be better if every one of you are also on the same page, if you are aware and able to discharge the thing in line with the given provisions of the law. So training is one such pivotal thing that makes this thing possible, that the other stakeholders, your importers, these customs brokers, they are able to get the basic understanding of the things, and every business process is falling in the line as per the laid down provisions of the law. So this was the basic intent of this training. Thank you very much. The association, they always take this step forward, and Dushyant Mulani ji is there, Shankar Shinde is there, you are there, and all the fraternity is there. I hope the session would have been enriching for everyone, and there must be a lot of question answers also. I think Karuna madam must be handling those things very satisfactorily, and she had been for an year time at Nhava Sheva with her first posting. So young and dynamic officer amongst us, she has been very accessible to the trade and friendly approach to resolve the problems also. She was there. Now she is at air cargo, but yes, she is one resource person for us for all other things as well. And good that Karuna that you took this initiative and you ever wanted to do this before also. So it's really wonderful that you have taken this up. I would like to say one more thing, that not only this one day session, But we, in our training institute, we do have a one training institute, the wonderful training institute. Some of you must have visited International Training Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition in Andheri. And you would be, all of you would be amused to know that every year we are conducting some 180 to 190 training in 1 year time. And I would say that this is highest, one of the highest for any training academy in India that this center is doing. Apart from that, it is also conducting long-term training programs where the certificates are issued to the participants and their exams are conducted, a bit exams for the before the certification. So import regulation is one such long-term program. The second long-term program is your all other regulations of FSSAI. And I would say all of you that some of you may join, may find time, or your associate may find time to attend this training program, and you must do it for the simple reasons that if you are through with your food act, food safety related aspects, then our burden is also lessened and your burden is also lessened in that terms. The next coming scenario is the export coming into the folds of FSSAI and the animal feed coming into the folds of FSSAI. So sooner or later, the standards that we are laying for the production and eating in the Indian market for the Indian citizens in our country, same would be applicable for the exports also. So the standards and the labeling requirements, claim requirements that we check during the import or in the domestic territory, the same thing would be requirement, one of the requirement for the export also. So it would be definitely in the good interest of the business that they go through one of such courses so that compliance level can be raised. It is no longer the same India which has the only food serving or food eating was the priority, or the hunger khatm karna wo priority tha. It's no longer the same India. We are running on a pathway of better food, healthy food, and we are showing this way to world also with the Eat Right initiative. So the standard that we are setting, I want to lay the emphasis, the standard we are setting, we are soon going to export the same thing as well. एक एग्जाम्पल बताना चाहूंगी कि हमारे यहाँ पर कई सारे कंसाइनमेंट जो है कभी बासमती राइस के, कभी स्पाइसेस के रिजेक्ट होते रहते हैं, और हम जो है उसका टेस्टिंग उस तरह से करके नहीं भेजते जिस तरह से हम इंपोर्ट के समय करते हैं. हम ये सोचते हैं कि जो एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री के नॉर्म्स हैं उसको मीट कर रहा है, दैट शुड बी गुड इनफ. इफ the importer of the foreign market is ready to take, we should not intervene, that's all fine. But it comes bad on the part of country when the consignments are getting rejected for one or the another reasons. तो अल्टीमेटली ये जो जिस तरह से पूरा सिस्टम रन करता है, इट tarnishes the image of country और इट्स बैड फॉर द गुड बिजनेसेस. इन फैक्ट कई बार ये होता है कि सैंक्शंस लगा देती कोई कंट्रीज की, अब हम यहाँ से इंडिया की ओरिजिनेटेड ये वाली चीज नहीं लेंगे. इन दैट वेज भी एक्सपोर्टर, बाकी के एक्सपोर्टर सफर करते फॉर दी सम फॉल्ट ऑफ सम ऑफ दी पार्टनर्स. हो सकता है उन्होंने भी इग्नोरेंट होकर ही किया हो. तो ये सब कारण है कि सूनर और लेटर वी रियलाइज दिस थिंग कि एक्सपोर्ट को भी जो है इंडियन इंपोर्ट या इंपोर्ट जो प्रोडक्शन है उस लाइन पर, उस लेवल पर लेकर आना है. तो बेहतर रहेगा कि हम लोग अब सिर्फ इस पर ना चलें कि थोड़ा बहुत नॉलेज हो गया ठीक है. आई थिंक वी शुड रेज अवर लेवल्स, वी शुड बी इन द कंडीशन टू शो द वेज टू अदर्स. एंड आप लोग तो क्योंकि बीच के ब्रिज हैं जो डिपार्टमेंट्स को, डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स को इम्पोर्टर्स कनेक्ट करते हैं, तो शायद से यू आर द राइट गाइडिंग people. If you are guided well, then our half work is done. तो ये सारी चीजों को ध्यान में रखते हुए मेरे ख्याल से दिस ट्रेनिंग वाज वन ऑफ सच थिंग. एंड आई होप कि हम लोग बेटर फ्यूचर और बेटर कंप्लायंस रेजिम के लिए अपने आप को तैयार करेंगे. जितना हो सकेगा हम लोग आपको जहां फैसिलिटेट कर सकते हैं, हेल्प कर सकते हैं, डेफिनेटली करेंगे. बट एट द एंड आवर कंसर्न इज सिटीजन ऑफ इंडिया ऑल्सो, देयर हेल्थ इज ऑल्सो प्राइमरी. And we should focus there also as a whole community or as a whole fraternity of attached with the customs or the food safety. We must realize this thing and remember this thing. So this is the short message from my side, and thank you once again for inviting.
Thank you, ma'am. With your permission, we'll take few questions. Considering the paucity of time, we'll consider few questions. So your presence is important, ma'am. So what do you, Nirav bhai, for question and answer? We can take few questions, Nirav.
Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you, Preeti ma'am. We'll take a few questions. So one of the questions which have come forward is if there is a client who wants to import products of multiple country of origins, like say for example from a country like Dubai, UAE, then how is the certificate compliance etc. has to be met for obtaining the FSSAI license?
FSSAI license basically आप किसी भी country से import करें, that would be just one FSSAI license. It does not debar you to import from XYZ country, but you are asking about how to comply with respect to the country of origin certificate when the goods are mix of various other countries. This is what you are wanting to ask, right?
Yes.
देखो इसमें ना एक चीज का हमें ये ध्यान रखने की जरूरत है कि कस्टम्स में हम कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन देखते हैं, उसके प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रीटमेंट या फ्री ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट को ध्यान में रखते हुए उसमें रेवेन्यू का एस्पेक्ट होता है. With food safety and their standards, we are not concerned about the revenue, but the traceability of the product. तो ट्रेसेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट की जब बात होती है, इसलिए हम बोलते हैं कि जिस कंट्री का है उस कंट्री का ओरिजिन सर्टिफिकेट लेकर आओ. बट समटाइम्स ये होता है कि एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री जो थर्ड कंट्री होती है वो उसको सर्टिफिकेट को इशू करके दे रही होती है. टू सम एक्सटेंट वो भी एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं, बट एट द सेम टाइम हमारे पास में बैकएंड पर ट्रेसेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए कि भाई इसमें जो एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री में पर्सन लिखा हुआ उसने भी तो किसी और से इनवॉइस रिसीव किया होगा. तो हमारे पास में जो है ट्रेसेबिलिटी होना सबसे जरूरी है. इसकी वजह से हम लोग मांगते हैं कि या तो आप उसी कंट्री का सीओ लेकर आ जाइए, और अगर उस कंट्री का नहीं है, किसी थर्ड पार्टी थर्ड कंट्री एक्सपोर्टिंग कंट्री जो है उसका है, तो आप बैकएंड पर थोड़ा उससे ट्रेसेबिलिटी के डॉक्यूमेंट्स दे. Otherwise, rule is very clear. It should be from the country of origin, not from the country of export certificate. So this way अगर ट्रेसेबिलिटी हमारे लिए अगर मेंटेन करके ट्रेल बना कर दे दोगे, तो विथ मल्टीपल डॉक्यूमेंट्स जो भी जिस भी तरह से विद द फ्लेक्सिबल डॉक्यूमेंट्स जिससे वो ट्रेसेबिलिटी दिख रही हो, वी आर फाइन विद इट. है ना. दिस इज व्हाट ऑफिसर्स कैन टेक द लेवरेज ऑन देयर ओन लेवल. वो वही है कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग है उनकी, इसलिए वो कर सकते हैं. बट आप भी उसको उसी तरह से समझिए कि फूड में ट्रेसेबिलिटी इंपॉर्टेंट है.
Noted, ma'am. It is very well noted. Thank you. Ma'am, there are quite a few questions which are there for dual NOCs. So I'll just take a few points, on that, just generalizing. So in dual use items, especially for import shipments, after duly declaring and applying with all the relevant supporting documents, an NOC out of scope letter helps us in releasing the goods from customs. In certain shipments, FSSAI remarks have come, which is out of scope, but in another column, it is mentioned rejected. Now, this causes a confusion. So basically, we want to understand how to get some release on such situations from the customs.
बेसिकली फिलहाल जो फिक्स सिस्टम जो है उसमें जिस तरह से ऑपरेशनलाइज हो रहा है, वहां दो ही टैब्स हैं. इधर यू जनरेट वन एनओसी और यू जनरेट एनसीसी. अभी एनओसी आ नहीं सकती क्योंकि सैंपल हमने उठाया नहीं है, इस वजह से एनसीसी जनरेट ही होती है. बट रिमार्क के कॉलम में ये चीज आ जाती है कि ये जो है आउट ऑफ स्कोप है, इसलिए इसे निकाल दिया जाए. सेम चीजें हम जो है सीसीएफसी में भी वैसे कई बार बता चुके हैं. तो मुझे लगता है कि कस्टम्स ऑफिशियल्स के एंड पर इससे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए. प्रीवियस सीसीएफसी में भी ये चीज दी है. बट अगर उसके बावजूद भी कोई इस तरह का इंस्टेंस आता है, मुझे लगता है आप लोग एक या दो ईमेल डाल सकते हैं जिसके मार्फत में वापस से लेटर लगाकर कस्टम्स हाउस में लिख सकती हूँ, रेस्पेक्टिव कस्टम्स हाउस में, कि भाई अगर कहीं पर नॉट इन स्कोप दे रखा है Filhal with the existing facility in the fix, it would be along with the NCC only until we shift to the next model of the fix. So looking at that point, I think next occasion जब भी इस तरह का होता है आप लोग एक email drop करेंगे तो along with that I can send one letter to the customers. That can be done.
Yeah, Niraji, can you take two more questions out of this main questions, because considering the paucity of time, yeah, please.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, Vinodi. In case, one question is, in case of free trade warehousing zones, if any food or beverage items are kept, then what is the rule for NOC clearance?
I think Karuna would be better in a better position to answer this thing. Karuna, can you reply this?
FTWZ. So
Yes.
in case of FTWZ, the bill of entry is filed as per the procedure. And if it's an alcoholic beverage, the NOC is given for 30 days. And you can also apply for revalidity of the NOC. So for alcoholic beverages, around 300 days or for a particular time period, the NOC has been given. But the rules as such and the documents as such are the same. The bill of entry is filed by SEZ. So I think Devenji, you can also email to me personally. So if you have any other doubts regarding this, because the procedure as such remains completely same. There is no difference in the procedure for submission of documents.
Thank you. I think this point was also, there was another question also related to this with regards to the validity. I think things are clear there. Ma'am, yes, please.
Sir, most of the questions I have replied in the chat box also. So if I have dropped my email ID also, so you can take one or more questions, or if, because Preeti ma'am is there.
Yes. Now, one question with regards to the presentation and the course basically, which was there. There was a question which was asked whether it's an offline or an online course, and whether the PPT will be shared. So I think you've already informed about that.
So this is an online course which will be starting from 14th October. So the courses will be on Saturday. So I think most of the CHS importers will be free on Saturday. So we have just marked the Saturdays for the import regulation course. And this will be very much useful because we will go in much in-depth knowledge you will gain. And I think this will be the best criteria for the CHN importers to enroll for the course. And we will definitely try in this course to like whatever doubts you have in this. So we can just do an in-depth study and we can put in that course also. Yes, this PPT will be shared if required.
And in fact, Neerav ji, I would say one thing कि course तो जो है हम Saturday run कर रहे हैं. Every time we get more than 50 registration for the batch, क्योंकि काफी लोग होते हैं उसमें registration करने के लिए. It is always full. We restrict it to the number of 50 only. But in case if you feel that it should be on Sundays or some other days or some other block that you want to arrange for your people and with the requisite number, that can be considered separately also. So the people who are coming normally with the normal registration process, so that can run separately. But if you have some other plans for the whole fraternity, that can be seen separately. So you can contact, I think, to Karuna also, and then the director in charge or the deputy director in ITCF San also. That is also fine.
So great, ma'am. That will be noted, and we'll give with the feedback, and we'll let you know if Sunday is working.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nirav. Preeti ma'am, first of all, congratulations for being promoted to commissioner. This congratulations from our members, and thank you very much for your spacious time. Karuna ma'am has indeed presented a well insightful webinar for our members, and our members know these how many issues we have regarding and little bit knowledge about this FSSAI sampling and all. So it was indeed insightful session for all our members. Karuna ma'am also spoke about the FSSAI introduction role and entry process, how this FSSAI is linked with the single window. and presented FSSAI 53 points and 10 locations, 97 entry points where authorized officers are there to support the EXIM trade. Madam also spoke about the process, how we should file this application and how we should take care of the certificate of origin, which is prime for the submitting for the testing samples. Ma'am also spoke about this various form from form number 1 to form 17 and clear instruction about the labeling, how labeling our members should be aware of and do other. Ma'am also spoke about the boon for our custom brokers, that there can be rectification of the labels at bonded warehouse or ports. So ma'am, overall a great session. So thank you very much, Preeti ma'am. Thank you, Karuna ma'am. Thank you to our chairman, Mr. Shankar Shinde ji, and chairman like Dushyant Bhai ji, my office bearers, and all our members who joined. Ma'am would like to inform that there were more than 400 registration and 300 members they joined. And there are so many questions. Definitely, Karuna ma'am, this is the first session FSSAI with the FFI members, but it's a not last, right? So definitely we'll go for another session for our members. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing me this opportunity. So it was a great session, like the speakers and the panelists and also the participants. Thank you for your time. Thank you, FFSAI, for inviting us and giving us this opportunity. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Karuna. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.